I want to introduce myself. I know I've met a number of you all, but I also want to just welcome you. My name's Matthew. I'm one of the chaplains from St. E's, and I was honored and privileged to spend some time with Sara while she was in the hospital for the last one. This is kind of a weird experience right now. Sara's clearly a very, very loved individual, and yet because of everything going on right now, there's just a separation. So it breaks my heart that this is our reality, but I am humbled and grateful that I'm able to be here with you all through this. As we begin here tonight, this afternoon, celebrating Sara a little bit, praying together, I wanted to begin just by taking a couple moments and pray together and to allow ourselves to put this in the context of faith, allow God to be present to us through this time. So if you would, ask, just take a moment and bow your heads, close your eyes. Loving God, we present ourselves to you this evening. We present ourselves to you with heavy hearts, filled with so many conflicts, with so many troubles, with powerful memories. Father, we offer up Sara to you tonight. We lift all of her memories, her family, everyone that was affected by her life. We lift them up to you this evening. We ask that you fill this room with your spirit. Knowing that there are so many that would long to be here, we ask that you fill their chairs, fill this space with your loving presence. Allow the family to be wrapped in your love so that we might know of your grace during this time. We thank you, we praise you, we love you. Amen. Above all, one of the things that I think I cherished about the time that I was able to spend with Sara was that she was able to talk at great length about her family. And this is sort of a special gift for me, just in getting to meet you all, to be able to see the faces that have come with the stories that she shared. And just in hearing your all's words about her is something that I think gives great life to her, continues to tell her story. I know there's many of you all that wanted to be able to share some of her life tonight. And for me, I look forward to hearing these things. So I wanted to give you all the time and to be able to share and to celebrate her. So I know there's a couple of you all that have some stories that wanted to share. 2, 3, 4. Does anybody want to go first?
I will. All right, so I'm trying to get through this without crying, but we'll see what happens. So, my beautiful Sara, you had such a wonderful heart and soul. You touched so many lives with your beautiful smile and laughter. So many of your friends have told me of how much they loved you and your kind-hearted spirit and generous gift of giving and always wanting to help others. You were adventurous in your short life and experienced so many things, good and bad. Your zest for life was apparent, especially when you were living in Maui, which is where I truly believe you were your absolute happiest. That's where you found your true love and passion for life, living in paradise, as you always called it. I'm so happy that you had the extreme happiness. We will return to you there one day, which is why we're all in Hawaii and stuff for you today. Although we miss you and long for your beautiful smile and laughter, we know you are happy and we'll be together again. So for now, I love you always, always. And then, this is from Sara. This is something that she wrote and had posted on Facebook, and Hannah found it. Okay. Give the ones you love a hug today, maybe even the ones you don't. Never can tell what someone may be going through. All we can do is be the best human we can. Share and spread love. Smile more. Let the small things go. Speak up more. Don't wait. Appreciate what you have and share it with others. You never know how you could change everything with just one kind act. And don't ignore the vibes. If you get one, good or bad, it's probably right. My heart hurts for those who lost loved ones recently. I don't know why things happen the way they do. I like to think it's for a reason, maybe for reasons we don't understand. It's for you, Gina. I find myself always needing an explanation for people's actions. I'm starting to learn maybe sometimes there just isn't one. I love you all, friends and family. I cannot express how truly grateful I am to have people care for me so much. I'll never take it for granted. And she wrote that back in February 2017. But I think it's her way of saying goodbye because it popped up recently. So, love you, Sarah.
There are other family members that want to say. I want to give you all as much time to share that as possible.
To the soon.
So I had a poem that I heard a long time ago. And even then it reminded me of Sarah because there was a point in my life where everything was just really hard. But Sarah had really stepped up to the plate and looked at me and taught me to do a lot of stuff. So live your life that the fear of death can never enter your heart. Trouble no one about their religion, respect others and their views, and demand that they respect yours. Love your life, perfect your life, beautify all things in your life. Seek to make your life long and its purpose in the service of your people. I like that part because Sarah really did try to help everybody. Abuse no one and no thing, for abuse turns the wise ones to fools and robs the spirit of its vision. And when it comes your time to die, be not like those whose hearts are filled with fear of death, so that when their time comes, they weep and they pray for a little more time to live their lives over again in a different way. Sing your death song and die like a hero going home. Sarah really was a hero to me. It's really hard to see her go. It really makes me feel like she was a hero to everybody. The people have really just been coming out of nowhere with stories and nice things to say about her. So it must not just be me.
Mine isn't a story, it's a poem, a great one joke in It's called Snowflakes. Whenever a snowflake leaves the sky or turns and turns to say goodbye, Goodbye, dear cloud, so cool, so gray, and lightly travels on its way. And then the snowflake finds a tree. Good day, it says, good day to thee. Thou art so bare and lovely, dear. I'll rest and call my comrades here. But when a snowflake brave and meek lights on a rosy maiden's cheek, it starts hot, warm, and soft the day. It's summer and it melts away.
So I really, really didn't think I was gonna say or be able to say anything. He was talking about the stories that everybody has and all the memories that everybody has of Sarah, and I can't help but thinking that for all of the hundreds and thousands of memories that some of us have, others have very few because they're younger. They didn't get to be around her as long. So I've been just about every day going through every single picture, post, and video that I could find that she took, she's in, somebody took of her. And I'm trying to make all of her memories mine. So that way I can be a part of them and she can be a part of everything else for just a little bit longer. That's how I found that post pop back up, because I've been scrolling through everything. Everything. There was one video that I keep watching where she had all those little kittens on the doorstep at her place of flying. They wouldn't let her keep the kittens because she already had Pickles. And it's just a video of the kittens playing. And you can hear her sniffling in the background because they've all found homes. And she had to say goodbye. That's exactly how I feel. So, that's it.
Anyone else? Anything I need to share? Listen to this song.
To the supermarket flies from the windowsill. Through the day old tea from the cup. Wrapped up the photo album that you had made. Memories of a life that's been loved. Took the get well soon cars and stuffed animals. Pour the old ginger beer down the sink. Dad always told me, don't you cry while you're down. But Mom, there's a tear every time. Oh, I'm in pieces, it's tearing me up. And I know a heart that's broke is a heart that's been loved. So I'll sing hallelujah. You are an angel in the shape of my mom. When I fell down, you'd be there holding me up. Spread your wings as you go. When God takes you back, say hallelujah, you're home. Fluff the pillows, make the bed, stack the chairs up. Folded your nightgowns neatly in care. John said he tried and put his hand on my cheek and wiped a tear from the side of my face. Now that I see the world as you did, 'cause I know that life without is a life that's been lived. So I'll sing hallelujah. You were an angel in the shape of my mom. When I fell down, you'd be there holding me up. Spread your wings as you go. When God takes you back, say hallelujah. Hallelujah. You were an angel in the shape of my mom. You got to see the person I have become. Spread your wings and I know.
Last time I talked to Sarah, she said that she couldn't wait to be home. And I think all of us can be happy because, in a way, she is. Sarah's home and she'll be home forever now, wherever that may be, because she can fly. She can fly now. And with the knowing the fact that she can fly, pretty sure we all know where she is.
Yeah.
So, I know Mom and Sarah, especially Grandma Lane, would want me to know that we shouldn't be angry. Shouldn't be mad. As much as we want to be. As much as we may not understand. There's nothing to be angry about. Because she's with all of us at every time. Every day. And she will be there.
Did anyone else have anything that they wanted to share? I thank you all. I know that sometimes sharing that can be a challenging experience, but there's such an immense celebration, Sarah. Your tears carry such a great amount of love. And seeing her through you all's eyes in the smallest of ways is great. It's a wonderful gift. And I hope and pray that you all will be able to continue to share that with one another and clearly with all of those that are crying out to you. Sarah Elizabeth Ross Knowles of Burlington, Kentucky, walked into the loving arms of her Lord and Savior on April 27th, 2020, age 32. She loved life, family, friends, and had a real passion for helping others. She gave love without hesitation or condition. She is survived by her loving mother, Teresa Jean Simpson, and father, Jerry Jackie Ross. Sarah also leaves behind her brothers, Joshua and Tiffany Ross, Jean Jennifer Simpson, sister Hannah Simpson, nieces and nephews, Ramona and Salem Ross, and Rowan Simpson, along with her grandparents, Wilma Ross, Joan Marias, and Stan and Elaine Simpson. Sarah was preceded in death by her husband, Curtis Knowles, in 2018. I always find those simple words that speak to someone's life in sort of the very high points. They definitely do not do it justice. There's no way that you can take one person's life and bring so much of it into so few words. In a unique way, I had the pleasure of getting to know Sara over the last month. There was a call that was placed to our office at the hospital asking for a visit for a patient, and this is a fairly common thing. We get calls from family members frequently, but with everything that's going on right now, we don't have family that's at the door. We're simply having this distance that's there. So we received this call from a frantic mother who was looking for support for her child. I happened to be on that evening, so the other chaplain had asked me if I could go visit this patient. So I went upstairs to check on her, recognizing she would be having surgery the next day. At that point, it was sort of this chasing game because she was on one floor, she was in a room, she was going to be sent somewhere else, and I didn't want to cut her visit short, so I was just sort of trying to figure out what was going on. I walked past her room briefly, and she was on the phone, which I would find to be a very common theme over the next couple of weeks as I would go to speak with her. So I found out that she was going to be moved to another floor to an ICU. And at that time, I figured, oh, well, that's the best place. So I went and I preceded her there just to check and say, when she gets here, call me, let me know, I'll come visit her. So I went about my evening. I got a call later, hey, she's down here. So I came to visit. And when I came to visit, I walked to the room, and sure enough, she was on her phone again. She was speaking to yet another loved one. So I waited for a couple of moments, and I went in. I introduced myself. And our conversation got about 2 sentences in, her phone rang again. And I said, clearly, I want you to talk to your family. She kind of cried and laughed and was just kind of like, I'm so sorry. I said, you take care of yourself. I said, I can wait. So I stepped back out and I waited for about another 10 minutes. And then finally I got a chance to go back in. And she promised me this would be the last time, but I didn't put a lot of credit into that promise because I was already aware of the outcry that she was receiving from beyond the walls of the hospital. Sara and I talked for probably about 20 minutes. She was scared. She was worried about the next day. She wanted her family to be with her. She knew that she was feeling that support. She felt it very deeply and very passionately. We talked about a lot of different things. She told me a little bit about her life, what brought her to that moment, some of the things that were going through her mind. And she had talked a little bit about God, shared a little bit about her faith. And I asked her, I said, is there anything that you've been praying for since the time when you found out that this was all going on? Like, since they've been telling you, since they told you you're going to have surgery, is there anything in particular you've been praying for? And what she had offered to me was something that has stuck with me. And I don't know that there are words that will ever truly leave me. Without hesitation, she simply said, faith over fear. And that became this mantra that she spoke about for the remainder of our time. Faith over fear. Fear is an interesting thing. And every one of us have encountered it in some deep kind of way. It's not rational. It doesn't really make any sense. We all have that thing that we're afraid of, and we're like, we step back and think about it, like, I don't have a clue why. But we all have the things that we have fear around. It resides deep, and it can cause us to make terrible decisions. It can cause us to do things that we look back and say, this is not who I am or what I want to do. And I think Sara knew that that was something that she didn't want to take grasp of her life. She knew that the potential for fear was very real because we're human, and that's something that we all encounter. It's something that we as human beings, we experience because we're a part of this world. The thing is that we are in this world. We're not of it. We are made of something so much more. I think in that time in the hospital, Sara was really starting to be aware of that. That she was called to by something so much more. Her faith was starting to call her to beyond the world that was here. Faith is kind of like the opposite side of that same coin, right? Fear causes us to be somewhat irrational. Faith can cause us to be a little irrational. But fear, for all those anxieties that it can cause, faith casts peace. It causes for comfort. It speaks in that voice that says, "You are my beloved, and I care about you." Sarah really was craving that voice, because Sarah wanted to be that voice for so many people. She wanted to remind people that they are worth it, that they are valued. In all honesty, I think it made her a little uncomfortable that she had so many people taking care of her. There's the thing about hospitals, you really can't do anything. You've got thousands of people trying to take care of you. You've got family that's reaching out. And all she wanted to do was help. But she knew that she was the one that needed it at that time. Faith is a really amazing gift. Faith is a gift that's given to us by our loved ones. It's given to us by our parents. It's given to us by our grandparents. Our siblings share in it. All of our family surrounds us with it. Faith is a gift that is instilled in us, so that in those times when we are at our darkest, where fear can take over, all of that love can well up, and that gift of faith can reign. Faith does not exactly make things easy. It just makes them possible. That gift that we know that whatever will be, faith can overcome. It can allow us to move mountains. It allow us to encounter the deepest parts of our lives. Faith can do amazing things. Sarah knew from the conversations that we were having, she knew that she had a long road ahead of her. She was thinking about her recovery. We had many more conversations after that first night. She knew that she had a long road. She knew that the physical recovery was going to be challenging. She had commented on a number of occasions how it was sort of the first time that she had a chance to slow down and really take into account everything that had happened to her. Life got busy. She was moving, and she was here and there. She had lost someone that she loved so dearly. And it takes time to heal in that. Unfortunately, it's something that continues on with us. And she was not afraid. That prayer for faith, so that she can be able to look upon the things that were so painful, that hurt her, it allowed her just to be present. She talked very openly about her family, about how much she loved you all, how she felt overwhelmed by the gift of food that was constantly coming into the hospital. She felt blessed just to have the support. I can tell you from experience, there are patients that have families standing at the bedside that felt less support than what Sarah did while she was in the hospital. That is a fact. Sarah knew every last thing. She felt it. She was looking forward very much to her time out of Fort Thomas. The last conversation that she and I had, we talked a lot about grief, we talked a lot about recovery, but we talked very much about being at peace with where we were. She looked forward to that time simply so that she could be. She wanted to be with you all. She wanted to be with her family and friends, but at the same time, she was looking forward to this time to just be. I don't think she had any idea that God was drawing her into this private place, that he was calling her home. But in many ways, that gift of faith had cast out any fear that was there. It made that journey completely possible. As much as she wanted to be with her loved ones, faith moved her to a place where she knew that it was with her loving God. Sarah was a gift. In the shadow of a doubt, Sarah was just a gift. I went to the cardiac surgery recovery floor today. where she had been for a couple of weeks. And I expressed to them, my gratitude that I've heard from you all, Teresa, for the care that she received. And every one of them were heartbroken to hear that Sara had died here this past week. They were so hopeful for her because they knew that she was ready for this. She was taking this on. She was so excited. We all just thought that this journey would go for many years to come. Little did we know that God was preparing her for this. I think one of the really amazing things that's really stood out in my mind as I reflect back on that time that I was able to spend with Sara was she talked about that time in Hawaii. She talked about being there, that gift of paradise that she encountered. And she and I had some good conversations about that because I lived out on the East Coast for a little while. And there were conversations I can remember her talking about with just sort of being there and being this peaceful place, beautiful, beautiful haven, feeling of sand on the feet, water in the air, just some of those simple beauties that you get when you're near an ocean. She felt very much that peace, that sanctuary in that place. There was a side of her that always longed for that kind of space. I think that's, if you've ever been to a place where you just felt like, this is mine, like, that was something she very much felt. She was happy to be home, but there's a part of her that would always be there. I wanted to read something for you all. And it's a poem that I'm sure you've probably heard before. But I was going through and praying about today, and I read this, and I thought this is particularly appropriate. So many of you all have probably read or heard the Footprints prayer. But I wanted to share that with you all here today. It's a short story. It says, one night I dreamed a dream. As I was walking along the beach with my Lord, across the dark sky flashed scenes from my life. From each scene, I noticed two sets of footprints in the sand. One belonged to me, and one to my Lord. After the last scene of my life flashed before me, I looked back at the footprints in the sand. I noticed many times along the path of my life, especially at the very lowest and saddest times, there was only one set of footprints. This really troubled me, so I asked the Lord about it. I said, Lord, you said once I decided to follow you, you'd walk with me all the way. But I noticed that during the saddest and most troublesome times of my life, there was only one set of footprints. I don't understand why, when I needed you the most, you would leave me. He whispered, my precious child, I love you and will never leave you. Never ever, during your trials and testings, when you saw only one set of footprints, it was then that I carried you. Sara died far too young. And the time moving forward from this place is presented with questions of how will we go on. And in the gift of faith, we are reminded that Christ carries us. God walks not just with us, but actually holds us during the times that are deepest and darkest. Praying for that gift of faith over fear allows us to be placed so intimately, so closely with God, that we don't have to worry about holding anyone up because we ourselves are held up. I want to thank you all for sharing, Sara. I want to thank you all for having the opportunity just to see her a couple times. I know this is not how any of us would have liked to see this play out. But I am humbled and blessed to have had the chance to spend time with her. She is gifted with a loving family. A love that goes well beyond this grave. One that will carry her into the next life and will remain with each of you forever and always. If we could, I would like to take a little bit of time to close with a prayer. So once again, we place ourselves in the presence of our loving God. With weak knees, with a pain-filled heart, with all the struggles that we carry into this time, we know that you carry us. We know that you lift us up. We know that you hold us dear and whisper into our hearts, you are my beloved. Loving God, we thank you for the gift of Sarah's life. We thank you for the blessings that she has placed upon so many. For each of us that are here today, we ask that you continue to bring those memories to light. We ask that you build in us the gift of faith over fear. We ask that you cast out darkness with your love. We ask that you remind us of your constant presence. Guide us how to take each step. Be with us in this very breath. Loving God, we praise you. We ask that you welcome Sara with open arms. Allow her place at your heavenly banquet to be prepared. Give us peace, knowing that one day we will all be together again. We ask for all of these things in your Son's name. Amen.
Amen.
Another song, Rick? We'll make sure.
There are places I remember all my life. Though some have changed, some forever, not for better. Some are lost, and some remain. All these places have their moments with people and friends I still can recall. Some are dead and some are living in my life. I love them all. Of all these friends and loved ones, there is no one compares with you. And as memories lose their meaning, when I think of love as something new, lose affection for people and friends that went before. I know I'll often stop and think about them, but in my life I loved you all. Soon we'll come to the end of life's journey, and perhaps we'll never meet anymore, till we gather in heaven's bright city, far away on that beautiful shore. If we never meet again this side of heaven, as we struggle through this world and its strife, there's another meeting place somewhere in heaven, by the beautiful river of love. The charming roses bloom forever. Celebrations come no more. If we ever meet again this side of heaven, I will meet you on that beautiful shore.